Y'all can see what's going on a little bit. Let everybody kind of get on board. If anybody's even jumping in, I don't know. All right. More tools, why not? Get this on. Rubber gloves. Rubber gloves will save you a lot. Get them super tight so that I can actually work with them. If they're loose, you can't really grab stuff with them. Man, am I ready for summer? I'm kind of working on this thing here and there. I think the motor's been put together for at least a month. I balanced the crank in it. Polished it really good. This is the second motor I've done like that. And I can't stress it enough, people. I see so many people that are running those little stock exhausts. Dude, for 30 bucks, these are what makes two-strokes. You know, you get I forget what it's called, like resonance, where the airflow comes back. It does like a ricochet in here. That's where you get your power band and everything. If you're not using one of those, you're losing a lot of power. Right now I'm putting basically this part on. And the reason I go with the two-piece, and yeah, I get that maybe it does kill a tiny bit of performance or something, but the first bike I had the solid piece, and the amount of times you got to take it on and off and on and off, I killed the threads in there. I don't know how many times, so I just use a two-piece. That way I can just take that part off, leave this on, and not have to unbolt it off here every time. And also, before I even really do anything with the motors, I go through and I tap out all the holes. So I believe it's like a 6. For the size of threads, it's pretty standard on these. And I go through and I put in the 8, the next size up. And that's what I put in the exhaust ends, especially in there. Right now you see this is, I put a little thin layer on the gasket itself on here. This is just a high temp gasket maker. And then I got a little secret that I use too, is this stuff, which I love this crap. What's up, y'all? What's up? What model is that? This is just a standard 80cc, but I've done all the work myself. Yeah, cool bike, huh? This time I'm running I got the hub adapter for the rear chain. It's the first time I've actually ran one, and I hope that it's all it's cracked up to be. Because I went all out too. I know you get those things and they look like they're just so easy to put together. Well, there's a lot more to it, and I've never even tried it yet. But I drilled holes, and then I tapped down into the hub itself with screws to really hold that thing in place. And I ended up using one of those little pads. I believe they're called like the pineapple or some shit. I used one of those as a spacer in there too. So yeah. What am I fixing? I'm not fixing nothing. I actually have not even, this motor's never even been started. It's a brand new motor for the year. I'm in Illinois, and the weather's been pretty crappy. That's why I'm inside, which this is like the first nice day we've had, but it's been cold. So I've been in here with all my tools in here. So I just figured I'd finish it in here and then get outside and ride, you know. My other build, I hit over 50 mile an hour on my last one, but I used PWK 21 millimeter carburetor, and then I had the Dio reed cage too on it. Can you recommend some model? Well, it depends on the, like, if you're wanting to ride one of these bikes, you better know mechanics. You better at least have a basic understanding of mechanics, because these things, I got a 12-year-old kid who's way easier maintenance than working on these things. And these things, yeah, you're constantly going to be turning a wrench on them. You'll learn a lot, but I mean, I actually got an electric bike too, which is nice because it's quiet. And on this one, I got this, which is off of a dirt bike. I don't know if it was a pro circuit or not, but I cut it in half. I'm still using the the packing in it. I'm going to put this together, and that's going to go on the end of my expansion chamber. So I will be able to run a little bit quieter, because that'll come back, like so. And I'm putting on this part. I got to keep moving on it a little bit. I'll try to answer y'all's questions the best I can as I go here. So I want to put this stuff on. This stuff, I don't know what it is about it, but I like it. I'll show you what it is here in a second. Oh, and I'm not advertising for nobody or nothing like that. I use the gasket maker, the high temp, and then I also even put a little bit of this stuff on there. Like, this stuff's super sticky. It doesn't really dry hard. I don't know what maybe it's a little bit harder than put. I haven't used it in a year. Last time I used it though, I thought it was pretty good shit. That's a little wet down there. I do know that if you don't have the lid on like perfect and it falls over, it will leak. That's probably why I ain't got much in here. But I bet I hit over 50 mile an hour on this one. I poured and polished it. I got the crank balanced real well. I'm running the expansion chamber. I got the reeds on it. I windowed my own piston. You name it. I get these aftermarket heads like this for the cooling factor. I like, because they got more to them, which allows more heat dissipation pulling away from the motor, because when you're running high RPMs, which I'm probably going to be up around 10, 11,000 RPMs on this, just kind of guessing, that it gets warm on you. And that's when things go bad, is when it gets too hot and it starts to melt. I also run, you can still read the label, but this is not cheap crap for my two-stroke mixture. And I run 40-1. And I run this stuff right here. It's like $20 for this bottle. And I run premium gas. And I've never had too much of a problem, I rode dirt bikes since I was a kid. And I'm pretty familiar with two-strokes, Been on one for quite some years. Well, I don't think I'm going to be using this stuff right here, because apparently it doesn't last a year. I haven't done any riding since fucking last summer. See how this is on here? This is the regular gasket that I had to actually hone out. And to hone it out a little bit, I used one of these bits in the end of my screw gun. And I make the holes bigger and all that whatnot on it. Because this is also, if you're going to port and polish your motor, you don't want to stop there. You got this guy too. You got air flowing out. You want to smooth this out and everything, make it nice. And I got bigger holes because I tap it out and I put bigger studs in it. These are the little guys that I'm putting in there right now. And they're short. It's got to be less than an inch. And I believe that's still a 5mm Allen head. You can't go too big with the heads on them, because then you're going to run into, hitting the sides. This one I've also re-welded. I broke my welder last time I used it though, so right now it's good enough to put on. See, I run these through here. It's actually dried up, which you want this stuff to dry. You can put it on wet, but you want it to dry up a little bit. I'm just going to put a lock washer on it too. Because this is like forma gasket. I believe the instructions on the stuff actually say to leave it set, or you know what? I can't run the washer on that. Man, I'm not ready for that nice weather though. Hopefully this thing goes smooth and I can have her up and going here shortly. 5 million. Got tools kind of everywhere. I I'll read some of the comments here in a second, try to answer them best I can for y'all, but if I'm going to get anywhere on this, I'm going to have to stay at it. Let me think what else. Oh, I did make something, because I run my chain tight. You see, I don't know if you can see, but I don't have that chain tensioner that comes with the bikes. That little thing is just a pain in the butt that constantly needs to be adjusted. I hope y'all can hear me. I'm not much of the editor type and all that. I'm more of the, ride, fix shit, and go. Behind the phones and everything, I'm not all about staring at them all day. I'll bring you in closer here in a second. Get this thing started. I got 5 millimeters somewhere. 5 millimeters is pretty much the Allen wrench that you're going to have on this whole bike. Except for I upgraded some of them, and now I got 6 millimeter. But see if you guys can see a little bit better what I got going on. I don't know. I got this. A friend got me this little tripod. And like this cover here, I'm going to leave it off. At least for the first ride. You don't even have to put it on there, to be honest with you. I'm leaving it off so that I can adjust my clutch. Because I'm not going to really understand my clutch until I go. Like right now, it's probably close, but I'm kind of picky when I ride. I used to race. Not big time, but a little bit. These are a pain in the butt, and this is why I use the split exhaust also, is because they're just a pain in the butt to take on and off. It's just time consuming. I know I got a shorter Allen somewhere. And this bike has never been ran. Never ran in this bike yet at all. This frame actually has, though, I've had another motor on this frame. I had this stripped down to nothing, and I just repainted it all matte black. You can see how I got my rear hub set up, because I got the rotor on there too. You can see I got a set screw right there, and I actually got another set screw on it because I can tell that this thing's going to have a lot of pressure and weight on it. And the way they send it to you, it just got that little, I actually have the, I believe an 1.5 inch hub diameter in the center, so I didn't have to use that spacer that they send with it, which I think that would have not been as good. You see how tight my chain is with no tensioner? It's not super tight, but it's tight enough. You don't have to have them a little bit loose like on a dirt bike, because these things don't have no suspension, so they're not going to be bouncing up and down like you would when you got suspension on a dirt bike. And you're supposed to leave, I think, 2 fingers, when you do them on that, but the dirt bike. Let's see. I gotta get an Allen in there somehow. I got a shorter one somewhere. I take an Allen like this too, and I cut it off. I got a couple of them probably laying around where I just cut and I just leave it a nub, because it's good for situations like that. If you got them on the carb. And then also I got a disc rear brake, which the adjustment is on the inside of that. Let me see if I can read some of y'all's comments. Well, I know I'm learning from my father. I'm learning about bikes from my... Well, all you got to do is just keep riding, brother. That's how you learn. You got to get out there and you got to mess up. Go break shit, That's that. When I started riding dirt bikes, I was probably like 12 years old or something. My biggest fear that held me back was the fear of breaking something, because I knew that if I broke something, I didn't have the money to fix it. My dad didn't really want me riding. He wanted me playing baseball. So my fear was breaking stuff, so I held back a lot, because I knew if I broke it, I wouldn't be able to ride it. At least not for a bit, Better get something else in there. I got tools everywhere from messing around in here for a while now. As for going back to which one you guys would want to pick from, like a motorized bike, which is, you know, with a motor on it, or an electrical one, that comes down to experience, man. I mean, if you want to roll your sleeves up and get some dirt on your elbows, go ahead and get one of these. I would recommend at least having a little bit of knowledge of how one functions, or at least having like a neighbor or a friend close by that has one too and is doing kind of the same thing that you can learn from. Because these things are they're something. The electric bikes now, I've been learning those. I already learned how to hack most of them. Like hack them as in make them go faster. I can tell you a little trick on them real quick. There's a speed limiter wire on them. I bet I got one of the extra motors in here somewhere. Almost 90% of the motors are going to have I just had one out. Oh. Well, I had a motor out at some point. I was showing somebody. It's a module. Like it's the silver box. But anyways, on the silver box that's on the electric bikes, there's going to be two wires that come out of it that come out and they're short and they go back and they tie right into each other. This is on an electric e-bike, not this. They're blue on the one that I got. Sometimes they're white. But that's your speed limiter wire. And all you do is just unplug that wire and your e-bike will go faster. That's just one quick little easy trick. You know, there's soldering the stunt, but you got to be careful doing that because that's all about resistance. And if you get your resistance too low, it'll flow too fast and it'll end up, you know, it'll overheat because it'll be trying to do too much. Same thing with a car amplifier and I forgot to put Loctite on these. School must be, or no, it's Sunday. Loctite. Loctite. More than I can recommend that stuff. Comes out fast. So, you know, I don't claim that I know everything. I'm always learning something new, and I'm always willing to learn something. But I've done quite a bit on these bikes. This is, I think, my fourth build. And then I also had experience in the background with two strokes, you know, 125s mostly. This thing helps a lot right here. Once I get this mounted on here, I'm going to put the, I call it the silencer, on the expansion chamber pipe, and figure out how I'm going to mount it on the side here and kind of hold it up. Because you're going to want to, not only, you can't just mount it right here in this hole and run it out and think that it's going to be okay, because it ain't going to last long like that. Not at all, my friend. I think my last bike, I had the windowed piston with Dio reed cage. I got it downstairs actually. I knocked off part of the bottom of the skirt of the piston right below the window, so it got really big. And it was still running, so these things are quite resilient. This is the hardest part about this exhaust, is getting this thing on there right. I guess I can move the camera over. I don't know how many of y'all are even watching. It's a nice day outside. Most of y'all are probably inside or outside playing. I know I will be. Get this screw started. Fire somewhere. Let's see. I'll bring it over here. See if you can get a better view. I don't even know how many of y'all is even watching or what. It don't matter. I'm still going to be doing the same thing. I noticed too going live that you get all your views right at the beginning. Me, I'd be doing the same thing whether I'd be live or not. It's actually kind of a pain in the butt because setting up the camera and all that stuff. Trying to get some lighting. This thing is made of sound. So I'll get a few threads started. I'm not going to try to tighten it up with this here. I'm going to grab an actual Allen. Make sure you guys use 5mm. If you don't, I'll let you know. Now, I'm a little bit concerned with, I think my squish gap is a little big on this, which ain't that big of a deal. I'll know once I start riding it. Hoping to go take a ride over by Grafton Street. Hopefully, I don't think I'm up to something. That some gun's tight. And after you ride it for a minute, you know, I'd say after the first half an hour of the thing running, go through it and check everything, especially your head bolts. These bolts right here, those are the main ones that are going to rattle out on you. You know, you can check your reed cage sometimes, move it around. This is the first time I've used one of these reed cages. This is like a G-Force or G2 reeds or something. I'm not sure. It's a little bit, I thought they were G2 reeds when I got them, but they're actually a little bit cheaper. Alright, so there's that. Now, you see this guy goes on here. Now see, with this split pipe like that, just the simplicity of that, I knew this carburetor was going to be a problem. I had it out the other side, which is where I wanted it, but I didn't have the motor mounted exactly in this spot at the time. But it's not too hard to switch really quick, because I ain't going to be able to do that. Not with this exhaust. That's alright though. Put this together for now. I'm just going to take the plate off the back of the reeds there that holds the carb on. I'm going to switch it so it goes out the other side. My calculations are correct. lines up perfect right there. I don't know if you can see down in there, but I believe it was probably this long. Now I'm going to be able to, I got to cut this a little bit. That's the idea right there. And it'll make it a lot quieter. The reason this is off too is so I can, because this has got a bend in it. And once I put it on here, I can decide whether I want to bend it, or turn it, which way I want to turn it. I'm just going to put some self-tappers in it. I'll probably just put some self-tappers around this edge right here. For now, at least. But that's not a bad little fit. Homemade, in a sense. Took old and made it new. But I'm going to take that off 5/16 real quick. That's the other most common size on this bike. It's 10 millimeter. Just cut it off the way. Spend a little extra time today. Hopefully, I'll be able to start riding and get, the next nice day. Never know about Illinois, though. This is the factory carburetor that comes with these, too. I believe they call it the NZ. I don't know, I've seen a lot of videos, and they all said that these little carburetors handle it pretty well, so I'm going to give her a go. I had a PWK 21 on the last one with dial reeds. I really did like that setup. The only thing I didn't like about the dial reeds was the way you have to mount the cage. But it's actually not, it seems gnarly, but it's not that bad of a thing, because it's a solid mount. I have not ran one of these yet to really say much about the pros and cons. A lot of times I'm using my own nuts and stuff. I don't use always the stuff that comes with these bikes. And they're always the best. The quality of this motor was, I guess it was about like the rest of them. You just got to go through it, and you see something that just doesn't look like it's supposed to look like that. Look up a video or something on it and see what it's supposed to look like. And go from there. It's trial and error. It's the only way. You ain't gonna learn, everything about these things just by going out and buying one and riding it, for a summer. You're gonna learn a lot. But it takes, it's a dedication. You better be dedicated to your wrench. I think last year I had more miles on my screwdriver than I did on my damn bike. Now maybe not that bad, but I had quite a bit of miles on this sun gun. Shut up! You know what you're barking at. I'm only going to film live till about 4 o'clock. It's, I want to say about 3:30 right now. I know it probably gets a little bit boring watching somebody just crank on a wrench. I still got to put an inner tube in here. I got to finish tightening the gas tank up. I got to fix the mount for my CDI. I did run my own wires off the magneto. I put bigger wires. I go all the way in and I desolder what was on there and ran bigger wires. But it really only helps you up to the point of the CDI box. And this isn't even the upgraded one, just the standard. And I take on the standard one I get my own spark plug end, like off of a vehicle or whatever. You just unscrew the original, whatever's on there, and you screw one of these right down on it. And way better. I've ohmed them out. I bought the high performance one, and I've had this one, and I ohmed them both out. I checked the wires. I mean, everything on them, and I didn't see any difference. I'm gonna be honest. Other than the spark plug boot, that was different. They gave you a better boot on the high performance one, but I take it off and put my own on anyway. I hit that on there good too. Okay, I got all 4 bolts out, and let me see. All 4 bolts out, and it's still on there. So let's see. Mess up that gasket. Should have filed in now too. Those are actually on the reed. That's my reeds in here, right here. I really don't want to take it out because got it all sealed up pretty good. See that? And that's gasket maker that's on there. I put a thin layer on all my gaskets. It's just I guess it's a habit in a sense. I mean, this isn't much to this. I did want to take and actually grinder it a little bit so that my carburetor would sit a little better, which actually I might do real quick while it's off. Let's take it off right here. Maybe. Has been on that one. My nose is running. I had a little bit of a cold. Let's see what I want to do right now is I'm going to hold that on there. I'm going to mark around it. I got to get a marker real quick. My nose is all full of dust. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold this carburetor in basically the position that I want it to be in while this is on there. So like it would be like this. It would be mounted. See the carb is at kind of at an angle and everything. I'm going to hold it on there. I'm going to do a mark around it, kind of like the line that's on there now. But that was for the other side. So I put a couple screw in it. I'll show you. There's a method. There's a method to my madness. Little tricks, tips and tricks. Alright, so I know it's hard to see from that side. Bring the bad boy back. What I'm doing is I want to mark. I'm gonna take some off of this neck of this here. So this goes on like that. And actually it wouldn't even work because that's why, because this little valve thing like there, I could actually cut that off, and it's just weird. I got a different carburetor I might have to use, but if I hold this on there the way I'd want it to go on, it should be like that, and I mark on here. Idea. Explain here in a second what I'm doing. So, well, you can see where I marked with the blue. So I'm going to take my grinder actually. I'll ease into it a little bit of time, but I'm going to cut that much off of that side so that when I push it on, it'll sit on there a little bit straighter and more level. So, following that. Understanding here. Could take it off the cable. Okay, so, alright. Take the grinder. This is outside, so I'm not going to carry that phone around with me. I'm never getting that done. I'm going to go hit this with the grinder. It's taking about a minute. I don't know if anybody even is there. I guess go take a piss or something. I don't know. I haven't looked at the comments. I haven't got any new comments, so I'm gonna go. Shut up! Alright, for the hundreds of you that are waiting. Oh, here's something that I created. Anybody is online still watching, you're going to get a good little tip here. So for your chain, how I get mine like that. On my vise here. See that little tip, you could call it, sticking out? What I did was I drilled and tapped a hole there. And I threaded in a little screw, whatever. I cut the head off and made it like that. And on the other side, I put a hole. So it will close all the way still. But if you know anything about how chains are supposed to work, you kind of get the idea there, because that works amazing. I probably got a little piece of chain somewhere that I'll show you here in a second. But it pops the bar right. I don't even use the chain link. There's no link on that chain, which I might actually want to put one on there because it'd be harder to take off if I need to take it off. I had a piece of chain there. I'll do it on this thing real quick. So, if it's still watching, you're getting a good bonus here because you buy all those tools and stuff to take chains apart. Bullshit. This right here works better than anything. So you got your chains, and this way you can do a half link or a whole link a lot easier. So I'm just gonna take the end off of this, or I'll take a whole link and a half. So I get her close to the bar that I want to push out of it. Chain rod or whatever you want to call it. I'll show you when I get it on there. So right now I got that little tip pushed right on the bar that goes through the chain, and on the other side, I got the hole. So when I tighten this, it's going to push that rod right off the chain. You'll hear it pop. It'd probably work better if I had a bigger vise or if it was actually stationary like it's supposed to be. But there it goes. And you can get your little breaker bar on there. That's why the thing's all bent up. That right there, my friends, is the easiest way I know to take a chain apart. Of course, it needs a little bit more. I should have made my rod, left the little tit that sticks out. I should have made it a little bit longer. But to put it back together, yeah, it's got to come out a little bit more, but to put it back together, same idea. You just use that and push it right back through. And I have no master link, and then you can do a half link or a whole link. You don't have to get all, I've been kind of messed up with it a couple times, but I don't like running them chain tensioners. On your intake side with your port and polish, you don't have to worry about the intake side being all perfectly smooth. You want that to actually be a little rough. The exhaust, make it as smooth as you can. I'm dead sitting ball. Trying to deburr it. Always wear safety glasses. Switch this thing back around now too. And turn that thing back around. Why? Because this little nut only seats on one side. And you can't really go on the other side. It doesn't have the stop for it. That's good, because I'd rather have my carb come out the side anyways. that back. I guess you can always go and review live footage later on, can you? I don't mind doing it live because then I don't got to worry about editing nothing. Even though I haven't really done a lot of videos yet this year. I will once it gets nice out. I'm trying to start a brand name. I've been saying it for a couple of years, well, about a year. The Urban Motocross. Remember where you heard it first, people. What it is basically is, you know, obviously the title kind of tells you what's going on with it, but you know, you pick a spot anywhere in town, and it doesn't even have to be a race all the time, but you're gonna. Man, this is gonna be all messed up weird. This stupid thing. This has got to be able to be removed or something. Let's see why I can't cut it off. I know it swivels. Cut it off or face it down or something. Because that thing is just annoying in the way. I got another carburetor, I guess, too. See how it's just hitting my frame right there like that? So hopefully the makers of this actually get to watch this shit and you can see. Dumb idea. It'd be great for your lawnmower, but not for this. I need to either angle that more, which I can't do too much, or put a rubber boot. Let's see, I got one other piece that goes on there, but it's a lot bigger. I don't think it'll work. So this is the other piece that come with these reeds. You can see it's a lot too big, but it might be an alright thing if I need something. This is a seat post. It goes into that size out. And that thing's rough. Holy crap. Who welded that? Jeez. You might want to get your eyes checked. I'm going to do this here. Because this ain't going to work. I got the other freaking carburetor. Never did like this carb. Never was a fan of this carburetor. Fit over that freaking. Oh, you know what? I got one of those. Yeah, I'm gonna probably have to cut the live feed, y'all, because I gotta be running around figuring some shit out here. I'm gonna have to do some makeshift shit. I got another one yet too, but this one's not obviously right. I mean, if anything, take the goddamn. But I got a windowed piston. Yeah, reeds are staying on this one. I got another motor and stuff that I'm gonna do just like a regular setup on. This one. Let's see. I'm gonna have to do some part and piece in here. Does this fit This one should fit in there. Yeah. So cut that off and put that over the top of it. Maybe. Redneck ingenuity. If I cut this off, looks like it's big enough. I might make it. But then I need to get a welder, and I don't think I can weld cast this fucking stainless steel. That'll be hard. Well, stay tuned for when I fire this bitch up, which hopefully will be in the next day or two. I'll do another video. If you got any questions, just ask me up. I'm not the best with the video shooting, on the editing, but when it comes down to this kind of stuff, I know my shit. YouTube. Peace out.